This one, Angered Cops put something out. Angered Cops put something out today. Put it out a couple hours ago. But I thought it would be funny to react to. Yeah. So he put out a video about an NYPD detective that is pole dancing in a rap video. I have Revan, well, it's gonna cook because I probably won't release the video until like over the weekend. This is not where I have to release my videos quickly. Or wait, are you talking about something else? Yeah, unless you're talking about something else. Anyway, but yeah, let's check out this AC. Let's check out this AC video. I'm really curious what this is about. Like, I have not heard anything about this, so I'm really curious. And given that AC is NYPD, well, Buffalo. He's Buffalo PD. I'm kind of curious how he's gonna handle this. So, let's go.
Well, happy birthday to us, not because it's our actual birthday, but because there's gonna be a lot of cake in this video. Why? Well, because the New York City Police Department Special Victims Unit detective played a starring role in a rap video as a stripper.
Now you have my attention.
And this detective really got into character because she's wearing the right uniform for the job, if you get what I'm saying. A bikini top and a thong. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm surprised because the internet has a sickness for this detective's thickness. Back to you, Donut. But before we get into how this detective decided to...
Sure.
First, a word from this video's sponsor. Whether it's somebody hacking into that company's network, other companies buying it and selling it,
so
or
it's
even
not even
governments
that
getting their
she's an SVU detective.
You need to protect your personal identification, and that's where this video's sponsor comes in.
Is that what that's what he said, right? He said she's an SVU detective?
It identifies data brokers that are selling my information
That's even
online,
worse.
and it stops it.
Like,
So
not only
every time one
detective,
pops
but a
up,
sex
it gets
crime
shut down
detective?
like that. Stop seeing yourself and all your personal
this is
information
yeah,
being
yeah.
sold
She,
on all these different
I'm
websites.
sure she's
Quora
undercover.
also constantly monitors the dark web and
Deep
alerts you if they
undercover.
find any of your personal information
Like, so
exposed.
deep, no one
That
knew
means
about
even
it,
the
that she was
second
going
family
undercover in the
you
first
secretly
place.
have in another state
Well,
won't be
yeah,
able
Ruff,
to
I
find.
appreciate
And they're
that
gonna
cops
let
don't
you
make a
know
lot of money,
fast
but
if somebody tries
there
to
is,
use
if
that
you're going to be doing
information
something
to
like
log
this
into whatever
publicly,
bank
there is
account
an
that you
image
have. Plus, Oregon's
problem.
$5 million in identity theft insurance.
One of the big
just in
rules when you
case.
work for a
And you can go
police
to my link
department
below,
is do
aura.com/angrycops,
not besmirch the
and
police
try Aura
department
out
when you're off
free
duty.
for 14 days.
Especially
And that'll be
if you're
more
doing
than
it if
enough
you're
time
working
for Aura
another
to find
job.
out if any of your personal
Tier
data has been
100.
exposed.
In the
Before we
criminal
get to the
justice
meat
system,
of the story-
sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated
Go.
detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
And in this one, the special detective becomes a stripper and apparently does OF as well. Yes, Gora, clearly, I got it. This should be dead.
First, let's learn a little bit about this detective. Meet Detective Marcato. Came onto the job in 2018, and for the past 3 years has been a detective in NYPD's Special Victims Unit. Hey, I'm an SVU detective, but I don't look nearly as good in a thong, or do I? And like many
Wait, he is? Wait. Is AC an SVU detective? Really? I thought he was a uniformed officer. I didn't realize he got promoted from uniform to detective. Oh shit. This just got even more interesting. Well, Kaibo, I suspect that there may be a deeper investigation into this officer now. Because, yeah, it's grinding on a stripper pole in a rap video and doing OS when you're a detective. True, I mean, Kaibo, I realize he's Buffalo PD. I do realize that. I thought he was still a uniformed officer. I didn't realize he got promoted to a detective.
NYPD officers, detectives, lieutenants, supervisors, etc., Detective Marcato has a second job, a second front, some of us call it, because living in NYC ain't cheap, buddy. Hell, back in the day, the first thing that they would do after giving you your badge for NYPDs, tell you where the line was for food stamps. And having a side gig is no big deal. Hell, Eddie Money, I don't know if you know who the singer Eddie Money is. He was an NYPD cop while trying to kickstart his music career. How Steve Buscemi was a fireman while he was trying to kickstart his acting career.
Wait, who is that? Hang on.
How Steve Buscemi was a fireman while he was trying to kickstart his acting career.
I remember that.
And if we...
I remember that. I remember hearing about that. Steve Buscemi, yeah, because when 9/11 happened, he actually went to Ground Zero and jumped in with the fire guys. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Kaiba. He showed up to work on 9/11 when that happened because he was a former firefighter. Yeah. And he went to his own old station and jumped on the rig and did the job with all the other firemen. I remember hearing about that. Adam Driver was a Marine, really? I didn't know that. Huh?
Fast forward from then to modern day, there's a ton of NYPD cops and firemen who use social media as their secondary gig. Check like no donuts here. Studly, handsome, shredded young man. Washboard abs and strong chin, full head of hair. I'm so jealous. But let's dig a little bit deeper into Detective Marcato's second front. The music video that Detective Marcato's dancing in is Doing That by an artist named Esquire. And I don't know if I sound as white as I think I sound when I say doing that, or my New York accent's kicking in, even though I'm from Western New York. Doing that. Doing that. Doing that. No, it's with an N. Doing that.
Doing that.
What are you doing? How you doing? You doing that? You doing that?
How you doing? How you doing? Do I sound like a New Yorker, chat? How you doing? What do you think? Can I call it off? Can I pull off the New York? How you doing? You doing that? No? Okay. I stop. Well, that's what I'm going for, Reb, I just don't know if it works. No, if I wanted to sound Chicago, I'd be sounding a lot like this. This is how you sound from Chicago. I've never had like a quote-unquote accent that you can like pin me down where I came from. If I hadn't mentioned to you guys that I grew up in Chicago, you guys probably would have had no idea that I grew up in Chicago. Because I don't really exemplify an accent. I don't think I've ever really exemplified an accent other than a broad Midwestern accent. You know? Hey, I'm walking over here. Like, I can put on an accent. Most people think you sound Canadian. GBP, are you from Minneapolis? Or do you live in Minnesota? Because I know a lot. Because Minnesotans often sound Canadian. That is a very common thing. No, she's not an undercover cop pirate. She's a detective for the Special Victims Unit. So basically, she investigates. And I'm broad stroking this. Realize I'm broad stroking this. She's basically a sex crimes victim. Sex crimes detective. She investigates sex crime victims or addresses crimes against sex crime victims. That is what she does. So she may do undercover work, but I doubt she's working undercover on this. Seriously.
I like the way you're doing that. And to be quite honest with you, it's really not that bad
guest
of a
star.
song. The music video already had a little over 1 million views when everybody caught wind of this. And the lyrics to it really aren't that bad. It's just, hey, I like your fat ass. Sometimes you drop that on me. And I like the way you're doing that. There's no grotesque description of sex or any sexual acts that are going on there. It's pretty mild. It's a G-rated version of, you got a fat ass and I really like it. Have a good day. So the controversy, if you want to call it that, is everybody arguing whether...
Well, I'm sure you could probably look it up, Bronco. The artist is Esquire, spelled S-Q-U-I-R-E. It's not the tradition spelling, I believe. You can probably find it pretty easy.
Or not, this is conduct unbecoming of a police officer. That's what all the hubbub's about. You got people in one group saying, hey, you can't be doing that as a detective or a police officer, let alone a detective in the Special Victims Unit, which usually deals with sex offenses and sexual abuse and trafficking, which often correlates with, you know, strip clubs and the sex industry. And there's also a group of other people that say she's not really a stripper, she's an actor in a music video portraying herself as a stripper, but it's acting. And it was all off the job. There's no NYPD badge. There's no statement about her being an NYPD cop. It's just her there.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
We're going to start telling people what they can and can't do outside of work? So let me play.
I mean, that is a legitimate argument. No, GVP, she was in a music video pretending to be a stripper. She doesn't actually strip as like a side gig when she's not a cop. So like what AC is talking about here with the people they're arguing, like this was on her off time. She was not, you know, this was, you know, she was not purporting herself to be a police officer in any way, shape, or form. Like that is a legitimate argument for why this actually is no problem. Well, I think that may be coming next. We shall see. When on its face, her being in this music video, pretending to be a stripper, honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. People may not like it. People may say, oh, it tarnishes, they may say it tarnishes the NYPD because she is an NYPD detective. But the fact is, she's not showcasing herself to be a detective in any way. This is like kind of a hang-up that people in the U.S. have, that some people have in the U.S. about sex. There are a lot of people in the U.S. who still have a very serious hang-up regarding sex and sexiness with things like strippers, where they view individuals who are in that line of work as lower social creatures. It's a stigma that's still persisting. Yeah, and nudity in general, Falcon. Yeah, it's like America is quite Puritan in this respect compared to other nations. And I can easily see the upper echelon in the NYPD having that puritanical point of view. I don't want to say second-class citizen, Sparta, because second-class citizen would indicate they are not able to avail themselves of public and governmental services like everyone else, because that is not the case. From a social standpoint, they are viewed as less than ideal individuals. They are viewed poorly on a social standpoint.
Devil's advocate here so we can understand both sides of the argument, and I'll fill you in on where I fall. Let's kick it off with the people that are a little upset
I'm
with
not
the
sure
conduct
they
of
made the
becoming
fuss
a police
machinist. I don't know who
officer
did.
here that say that this gives NYPD a bad look. Let's be real about it. Let's take off the kid gloves and talk like men or women. There's a professional standard that you need in order to uphold when you're trying to protect and serve people in your community. And obviously there are lines that you can cross that once you cross them, the community's gonna look at you differently, and that can prevent you from being effective at your job. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you did OnlyFans content and were sucking in on screen on the internets, and then you were also a cop. Your ability to properly police and assist people in the community could be affected. How? How could they be affected? Are you serious? Let's just say that you've got a bunch of teenagers that are in a parking lot or a mall and they're doing something, you tell them to leave. All they have to do is show you sucking, getting railed, or giving it to some granny on the internet saying, isn't this you? And you're a laughing stock. Nobody's gonna listen to the guy.
Not only that, he's exactly right. It's not only are you basically going to lose that sense of authority, well, Zed, if it's on the internet, all it takes is for it to go viral, and there's a chance that it could. If in the fictional example that he is referring to here, if it gets, if someone sees it, if people watch this OF video, this basically, as he's describing it, porn, and somebody recognizes the officer in the video as an officer, and they post this on Twitter, they post it on a Reddit board or whatever, and it goes viral, then a lot of people are going to know about it. Particularly people that live in the district or the area where this officer works. And so you're going to run into a problem of not only will the people whom you are supposed to be policing have zero respect for you, well, Zed, yeah, you're talking about a few dozen million. I'm only talking about district, because if it gets, police officers work in districts in New York City, and that narrows down the field of people. And if this person goes viral, and especially if they start tagging people in this, in this district, hey, this cop is working in your area, then, yeah, it would not be all that difficult these days, especially because people are looking for this kind of stuff, especially with cops. You don't think that the minute it's discovered, if this person has an OF, the minute it's discovered it's a cop, that you won't have people citing out where their precinct is. We don't know yet, GBP. We haven't gotten there. You don't think that people are not going to find out where this person works, and that they're not going to start letting people in that area know that this cop that works the beat in your area did porn? And yeah, it can potentially cause people that this police officer wants to basically enforce the law with to have little to no respect for them. And the minute this officer tries to exert authority, these people just go, is this, like AC said, is this you, with the porn on the phone? And that could potentially ramp things up, because since they will not respect this officer's authority, the officer has to basically take a step higher in order to affect that authority if they, in order to do their job. And so it's creating a situation where that officer, because these people have no respect for him, may have to ramp up their job. And you can argue whether or not that's appropriate or not. That's not the discussion here today. It's going to make them doing their job that much more difficult. And when you're a cop, that's not good, because making the job more difficult means elevating the steps that you need to take in order to do your job.
Or girl that gets or is fucking on camera when they're telling them, hey, you need to clean up your life, otherwise you're gonna go to jail and really make some big mistakes, says the person with 15 million views of jizz on their chin. You think the Muslim Community Center is really gonna want Linda Lovelace coming in there with her?
There's another perfect example, is if something like this were to get out, how do you think that the community areas that this police officer has to make contact with and has to patrol and has to seek cooperation from, how do you think they're going to be treating this officer who is widely known to have done court? Now, again, AC is going on the example AC is giving here is on a more extreme level. He's giving an example of a police officer like almost literally doing porn. And that is not the case here. The case here is this officer is just, is in a music video pretending to be a stripper. in this video, not an NYPD cop, but just pretending to be a stripper. So his example is on a more of the extreme side. What he's showcasing here is how the respect of the community for that officer can take a very significant hit when something like this comes into play and becomes widely known. Now, again, he's also not saying that this officer isn't wrong. And these are the reasons why. He's doing devil's advocate. Like, here's how one side could be viewing this. And he may switch to like looking at how the other side views it too. But again, his example is an extreme example. It is not, showcasing this particular officer with what she did.
Her face glistening. You think that a victim of sexual assault or sexual abuse is gonna look a little differently at a special victims unit, detective, or even the patrol officer that's coming to talk to them and being like, I was trafficked, I was sexually abused, and you're promoting the that like hurt me? What? Yeah, that could be a bad day.
Not wrong
or
there.
If you go even further, it's gonna be hard for a cop to arrest people that are doing heroin when he himself is smoking heroin. Looking at you, LA. Or meth, I think it was meth. So let's not be—
Oh, shit! Hey, I hadn't heard about this. The cop that was high on meth? Oh, fuck. When was this? October of 2023. So this was a couple years ago. Oh, this is not, I don't think this is LA. This looks like sheriff's badge. I'm not sure where this is. This person's not LAPD. That's the wrong badge for it. But, oh, that ain't good.
Meth, I think it was meth. So let's not be naive and think that
Could've been a
what
sheriff's
we do
department then,
outside
Alex.
of the job of being a police officer or civil servant can
Yeah,
in
LA
no
County.
way negatively affect how the public perceives you and how you're able to do your job. Trust me, I know.
Angry Cops has a history of misconduct allegations.
You make fun of people on the internet. Do you really think you could do a job like, protecting and serving? Yeah. If Tulsi Gabbard can be the head of our intelligence services, she can still run a reserve drill sergeant unit. So what? And she's on TV far more than I am. How about whenever I'm off the job, you politely f off and treat me like everybody else? Yeah. Let's go there. Now, the NYPD officer, No Donuts here, the Instagram account, physical fitness guy, right? You think there's a whole bunch of people that are in the physical fitness world? And like, what's the difference between a woman shaking her ass on stage in a music video, acting, and you and the girls going out to the beach and shaking your ass and posting it on your own personal Instagram? Now, I know being a stripper and just having a good time with your friends out on the beach are two different things, but it's almost the same end game here, right?
He's not entirely wrong. The female officers that go out and have a fun time, and if they're wearing thong bikinis on the beach and they're taking pictures of themselves and they post it to social media, and that gets shared all over the place, he's not wrong. It's very similar, and it's very similar in nature, and people don't have a problem with that. Russ, not telling. Not gonna tell you. But this is the same thing. If you had some female officers that have a beach day, and one or more of them wear a thong, and they take pictures, and they post it, and those, get shared, and go viral to a small degree, it's kind of the same thing it's kind of the same thing as the video that this officer worked in. So it is kind of a double standard. For people to say like, oh, she's what she did is, I don't know, I'll throw it where. So like there was a blight on the NYPD and now she can't do her job. It's overall, and I think this is what AC may delve into, is cops are being held to a bullshit double standard when they are not on the job. When it comes to what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to the police officers, the general public, I think, for the most part, has this thought that when you are talking about police officers, that the person is a police officer and that's all they do. Like, they may not be doing this they may not be doing it intentionally, but I think a lot of people think of people in positions of authority, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, military personnel. I think a lot of people view them as being, when they see them on the job, they are on the job. Police officer, firefighter, paramedic, military, what have you. When they're off the job, I think a lot of the public, without realizing they're doing it, think of these people working in these jobs as like helldivers. When they're not doing the job, they're basically thrown into cold storage for 8 hours until it's time for them to do their shift, and then they get thawed back out again, and then the police department or the fire department or the military throws them back out in to do their job. So when they're not doing the job, they basically don't exist. They're in some cold storage somewhere, and you don't even think about them. They don't think about that these are human beings that have lives outside of this job. And I think that is a big component to this, is that the people that are criticizing them don't like to think that a police officer, when not on the job, has a life that does not 100% involve police work. And I feel like that is where a lot of people have the issue. They cannot perceive a police officer not being a police officer when they are not on the job.
You got somebody shaking their ass in a bathing suit.
How's our time looking, guys?
You got somebody shaking their ass in a bathing suit on the beach. Both of them get uploaded to the internet.
This is true, Robo.
One's emulating sex intentionally.
Okay, thank you, Stefan.
We're not naive. But if you were to just take out the environment, and even then, she's not a real stripper. It's a music video. It's acting. She looks and is acting like a stripper because that's what the music video is asking her to do. And how far is this gonna go? How many hobbies can a job say, hey, we don't want you to do when you're off duty and we have no control over you? How much control over you should you give a job? So much control that what you do when you're not working at that job, they can still fire you for? And now let's be real here. Neutral ground. How is it going to look in the public eye if NYPD says, hey, you were acting like a stripper. You weren't really one, but you acted like one. That's bad and we don't like that. Well, what about people who are actually strippers in your community that you police? Are they bad people now? Are you supposed to shun them for their totally legal job? How is that gonna assist you in any sort of actual trafficking?
Yeah. What if the police need the help of a stripper? What if a stripper is a witness and you require her assistance in either testimony or giving you information about a crime? And you don't think if the NYPD does this that strippers might not go, I ain't talking to the cops. You guys think we're pieces of shit because of what happened with this. What is the incentive for people in that job?
The kind of control he's talking about was something Henry Ford was infamous for.
Okay. It's called the sting. No, nickname, I'm talking about, like, if a woman or man who's a stripper is a witness to a crime and the police need their information that they have from what they witnessed or their testimony in court to convict an offender, if the NYPD was to do what he is hypothesizing, that people in the stripping industry might not say, I'm not fucking helping you. You think we're scum. Why should I help you? Go, figure it out yourself, asshole. So it's also a question of, the NYPD shunning a part of its community.
Or sexual abuse, which does happen around strip clubs. Are they going to feel comfortable going to NYPD officers now knowing that NYPD heads
there
are
you
like,
go. They won't
strippers
come
aren't
as
real
victim.
people and they're inappropriate. Get this lady out of here for...
Not only just for sexual harassment. Strippers are, strippers can be victims of SA. It is not at all unheard of for strippers to be victims of SA because clients of strip clubs, because a stripper pays attention to them, because they're tipping well, gets it into their head that this stripper must really like me. I'm going to push things because she's acting like she likes me. And they go way too far and they actually do potentially SA or some other kind of crime against the stripper. Is the stripper going to feel safe reporting any crime made against them, even outside the strip club? If it comes, if their occupation happens to come up, they might be worried that the police officer is not going to take them seriously because of their occupation. So, yeah, again, this is, and he's hypothesizing this. He's not saying NYPD is doing this. He's hypothesizing that if NYPD were to do this in regards to this. So it's all hypothetical right now.
Heads are like, strippers aren't real people and they're inappropriate. Get this lady out of here for just pretending to be like one. Now, here's my 2 cents about the whole thing. Yeah, portraying yourself as a stripper is not known to be the most honest and cleanly job. You think Cardi B is something you want to emulate? She bragged about drugging men and stealing money from them while stripping. And was like, oh, all of us do that all the time. You see how emulating that lifestyle could be looked at poorly to your law enforcement world? I think we can all understand that. Isn't the #1 rule for dads, good dads, to keep your daughter off the pole?
My only job in life is to keep her off the pole.
As long as she stays off the pole. As long as she stays off the pole, I've done my job. So let's not pretend that being a stripper is just this awesome job that has no negative repercussions or stereotypes or anything that comes with it. But at the same time, she's not really a stripper. How involved are jobs gonna get in somebody's off-duty life? If it's not illegal and you're consenting adults, who gives a shit what you do for a secondary job? And even if, like most departments, and NYPD does this too, she filled out a form that says, hey, I'm requesting that I have a second place of employment because I don't make enough money here, or I want to make more money and make my life better because of all the taxes that New York City has. Congestion tax. Kathy Hochul's a retard. She's not gonna put, I'm gonna be a pretend stripper. She's gonna say, I'm gonna be an actress in music videos, or I'm gonna be an actress for this production company. So I say, take that thing. And hey, detective, if you ever get tired of getting harassed by the job, I'm sure that there are a dozen B-list basketball players that are more than willing to can pick you up and take you away from all this and put you up in a mansion.
Somewhere in Wisconsin.
And if you do get in trouble, you've got one hell of a Me Too movement, workplace harassment suit going on here just because you're a woman walking around being a model or actress. This is such a nothing burger. I pray NYPD does something so stupid as to go after you for making money on the side because you're thick and you got fake eyelashes and your lips done and you want to show them off. Like, can we all just grow up? Either way, probably don't want to pretend to be a stripper shaking your ass anymore in the next production. Okay, detective? Maybe we don't need this type of attention. Maybe our acting career goes in a different direction.
Okay, thank you.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if you got a little bit more flack from this. And by the way, getting flack from this isn't a reason to start some sort of harassment campaign. If you want to shake your ass in the middle of the dance floor in your thong in a music video, don't be so dumb to think that you're not going to get a little bit of blowback. All right, Mrs. Officer.
She got me thinking I could date a cop.
Best way to support the channel is get yourself a shirt. Check out these shirts that I have. Oh my God. Look at them. They're amazing.
Male officer.
You can wear them,
Acting
and
as a
people will like you
Chippendales
more for them.
dancer.
Cheapest way to support the channel.
Who
is
knows,
leave a
Bronco?
comment.
Who knows?
What do you think? Right? Do you think that? Hey, it's off duty. Who cares? Or are you like? Don't be stupid, lady. You know exactly how this looks. This looks dumb, and you're making the job look less classy. It's already difficult to make it look classy. All right. See you next time, weirdos. Delectable detective? That sounds creepy. Roll with it. No, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, the optics of it are not great. You're right. The optics of it are not great. So, unfortunately, it's. I don't think she should be fired. Absolutely not. I do not think she should be fired. I do think that maybe she had made a. Did she make a possibly poor decision? Sure. I certainly think she may have possibly made a poor decision doing this, but it is her decision. And what she did is nothing wrong. Being in that music video as pretending to be a stripper, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.